Hey guys, I'm Rachel and welcome back to Auxhart Gardening. Today's video is going to be a little different because unlike some of my other minor garden experiments, this one kind of feels like an experiment. You know what I mean? Like something you might do in a lab. So I have here with me two comparable tomato plants. These are orange hats. They were planted at the same time and they were transplanted from their little cells into these pots at the same time. And they have since been on the windowsill in my kitchen for the last 2 weeks or so. But the idea is that these two plants are approximately the same starting out and that they are in containers. So the idea behind this experiment is to test whether or not it makes a difference if a plant is insulated from the ground electrically. I saw this experiment done on the Weedy Gardener on his channel, and I decided that that would be a really cool thing to replicate for myself. He was also asking people to do this experiment and send him the results because he's really curious to see how this works for other people. Now in his video he had 3 vases with a similar flower in each. The first vase had a wire in it going from the vase to the ground. The second one had a wire in it that was not grounded. And then the third one had no wires at all. And as you watch his time lapse in that video, you should go see it, it's so pretty, but basically the flower in the vase that is grounded stayed alive much longer than the other two. And the idea behind this is that when a plant is insulated from the ground, as in not grounded, then there is a buildup of a charge. So the way electricity works is your charge is going to move so that everything equalizes as best that it can. And that's just the natural way that things want to go. But when you have something insulated in its own little system, something like a plastic container, then there can be a buildup of charge, especially from the air into your container. And the idea is that by taking a wire and sticking it from your pot into the ground, or in some cases I've seen people doing this with electrical outlets in their home, the idea is that you open up the free flow of electrons and thus allow the charge to equalize naturally, which is overall better for the plant. And I will say on the surface, this sounds like a plausible thing. I've definitely seen plants do better in the ground than in containers, and I've always thought that it is because they have a limited space, limited resources. Maybe they're just not so happy not being able to spread out their roots even if they have enough nutrients, and so this could be a factor, and I'm here to test it. And of course, by no means is this going to be a super conclusive little study. I'm only doing this on 2 plants, which is a very small sample size. But it's a little curiosity thing. It's something that's very neat to do and very neat to see what happens. So, if any of you guys also want to do this and comment below how it goes, I will also be very interested to hear about that. Now, as for the wire I'm using, this is what I've got. I'm assuming it's copper inside. This is just something that a friend was able to give to me to use for this because I don't just keep spare wire around. And I have 2 of them, and one of them is going to go from plant into ground, and one of them is just going to be stuck in the plant and not stuck in the ground. So that way we're removing the variable of, does just having the wire stuck in it affect it at all? If I had a third plant to do this with, I would be doing one without anything. But since I don't, this is the next best thing. So these are both going to go on the same shelf of my little greenhouse right there on the bottom near the ground. And because they are in plastic containers, they will definitely be insulated from the ground. And they're also kind of up a little bit on that shelf. And I'm going to come in and take a picture every day for 2 weeks, maybe longer if I feel like it. And then we're going to come back and see if there's any appreciable difference in the growth of the plants. So this is the 2-week update. So far, both of the plants are growing About the same, I would say. The one on the right was definitely just slightly bigger when we started, and it is still slightly bigger. So at this point, I'm not really sure if enough has happened to draw any conclusions. So I'm actually going to wait an additional 2 weeks and come back and check on it before I say anything else about whether or not I think this will work. Wow, time just flies, doesn't it? So we are 25 days into this experiment now, and can you tell the difference? I certainly can't. This one is my plant that was grounded. You can see it's starting to produce some flowers. This is the one that was not grounded, and you can see it is also starting to produce some flowers. So I obviously can't speak for all situations, but in my little experiment, it seems that grounding these plants hasn't really made that much of a difference. I'm not sure if maybe my wire was not a high enough gauge, but I figure it should be enough to let electrons flow through, and so I feel like I gave this a good chance of working. Also, in the interim time, I have been looking into this and trying to find research on it, and it's really hard to find. So if you guys know of any like actual scientific studies that have been done on this, I would love to read them, honestly. And it seems like maybe this is better for plants that have been detached, like the ones that the Weedy Gardener had, the flowers, rather than plants that are in soil. But that's just a theory, and I don't have data to back that up. I just have this. But I think this is really interesting. And if any of y'all want to repeat my experiment and let me know what happens, I am dying to hear, because of course a sample size of 2 is very small. It's really quite inconclusive. However, this has been very fun. And I think it's really interesting to talk about and think about and show you guys. So that is grounding experiment concluded. These guys are going to lose their wires, and they are going to go with all the other potted plants that I have. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this as interesting as I did. And again, please let me know if you try this out, because I think that's really cool. And we should keep trying things out, even though my experiment didn't work out, you know? So I'm gonna stop rambling on that now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, happy gardening.